Hey guys, how's it going? Andrew here, Enough Said Cards on Monday morning. Happy New Year to everyone. I have the day off work today and decided I just wanted to make a video and show you my collection of pre-war Red Sox postcards. I've probably shown most of these in other videos since I started my channel, but just thought it'd be fun to show them all together. I think that speaking generally, postcards are underappreciated aspect of the hobby. There's some really cool ones out there. The ones I'm going to show you today, they're not going to be in any particular order. This does not include exhibits cards that I have in my collection. This only includes cards that actually have a postcard back. So let's just get started. I'm not going to go into great detail about each individual set, or this video will drag on forever. I've done that in other videos, but let's get started with this one. This is a 1909 to 1916 Max Stein postcard of Smokey Joe Wood. The set is PC 758, and this one's graded at SGC 4. Always thought this was a really cool image of Smokey Joe Wood. I've never seen this anywhere else. Picked this one up a few years ago. If I recall, there's like 4 or 5 graded examples of this, so it's pretty tough. This one was not postally used. And typically when you see postcards that have the split back, that indicates that it was produced at 1907 and later. This one obviously does not have the split back. Not exactly sure why, since it was produced after 1907, but this is a 1909 to 1916 postcard. Next up, this is a 1906 to 1907 Sporting Life team postcard of the Red Sox, W601. This one's graded a poor 1. And you'll notice on this one, it does not have the split, and that is because it was prior to 1907 it was made. This one also is very tough. I've only seen a handful of these. Sporting Life also produced in the same era larger versions of this kind of composite picture for each team. Those are not easy to find either, but these are particularly difficult. One of these came up for auction a while back. I missed out on it, got outbid, but ended up finding this one. Has Cy Young up there on the top. Jimmy Collins, who's also a Hall of Famer. Just always thought this one was interesting. This one was mailed also to a individual named H.B. Campbell, and it was addressed to the sheriff's office in Missoula, Montana. And I was able to look this up and found out that that person, Mr. Campbell, was actually the sheriff at that time. So I thought that was kind of neat. Next up here, this you're going to see a couple of Eastman Hotel and Hot Springs, Arkansas postcards in this collection. The Eastman Hotel is where the Red Sox would stay when they were at spring training in Hot Springs. And this postcard here says that, hope you're fine and dandy. We will be taking supper here tonight with the Boston Americans Club. Best wishes. And just sent from a random person to another random person, but I thought it was cool that it said that on the back. And this was postmarked March 18th, 1912. Paid a couple bucks for that. Thought it was neat. All right, we'll continue with that theme here, the Eastman Hotel. This here might be my favorite item in my whole collection. Another Eastman Hotel postcard. This one I bought raw a few years ago, and this one is addressed to Enough Said McGreevy, who I've spoken about multiple times, and of course that's where my channel name comes from. And it was sent to him by Joe Lannon, who owned the Red Sox, and this one was mailed March 21st, 1914, and it has some great baseball content in here. It says, "The boys often speak of you. I got your postal this AM. Everyone is feeling fine, and we are going for the pennant from the start." So I just think that that's incredibly cool. I got it slabbed a couple of years ago and had the autograph certified. This one I got at the same time. Another one that was sent to Nuff Said McGreevy. This one was sent in 1917, also from spring training. This one is a picture of a tower in Hot Springs. And it was sent to Nuff Said McGreevy by a guy named Joe Burns, and he says, the Sox are looking fine. Joe Burns was a noted member of the Royal Rooters, which was Nuff Said McGreevy's club, Red Sox fan club, that he was the leader of. Thought that one was kind of neat. Let's see. Next up, thought this one was interesting. This one on the front says, view from Gallows Hill, Salem, Mass. After fire on June 25th, 1914. And if you look up this fire, you'll see there was a pretty devastating fire. And on the back here, it says, dear brother, I saw the Cleveland team trim the Boston Red Sox yesterday. It was a dandy game, excuse me. This fire consumed about 1,800 homes. Just thought it was always the transition from the Red Sox game to a fire consuming 1,800 homes. Thought that was kind of interesting. I was able to look up this game based on the postmark. The postmark here is the 27th, but the game that they have to be referring to is actually took place on the 25th. So he must have written this, and then it took a day to get it postmarked. But Cleveland played Boston. Cleveland won 3-1 at Fenway Park. And you can see here that Shoeless Joe Jackson went 1 for 4 with an RBI. And Napoleon Lajoie went 1 for 3 with a double. And for the Red Sox, Tris Speaker went 2 for 4. And Smokey Joe Wood pitched 2 innings in relief, had a strikeout. So this is another one that I just picked up for a couple bucks, but I thought it was really cool that I had the information about that game. Next up, I showed this one very recently. I picked this up in REA, so I'm not going to go into great detail about this. This is from the 1912 season. This was produced after the Red Sox had won the American League, but before they had won the World Series. This one is postmarked November 1912. And I have this example also. This one's graded at PSA 5.5, and this one's unused on the back. Produced by the Photo Art Shop in Swampscott, Massachusetts. Thought this is a pretty cool image. All right, next up. This is a postcard that was produced, I think, in 1907, if I remember correctly. And this is called the Red Belt series. This one was actually postmarked in 1909, but it was made earlier than that. And I always just thought this image was really cool. This has been identified from a photograph as being Jimmy Collins, who was the Hall of Famer on the Red Sox, who played second base, I believe. And in the background here, you can see that this game was played at the Huntington Avenue grounds in Boston, which is where the Red Sox played prior to Fenway being built in 1912. So always just thought this was a pretty cool postcard. It's part of a set. This one is, the name of this postcard is Safe. All right, next up, another postcard from 1912. There's actually a lot that were produced in 1912. This one shows the Red Sox team, and there's Smokey Joe Wood, Tris Speaker, and Harry Hooper is right here. And this was made also for the 1912 World Series. You can see on the back, it's a scorecard. This was made by the Technical Book Publishing Company. And these are pretty tough. There's been one of these up on eBay for years at a ridiculous price. It's like $5,000, which is not worth anything close to that. But it is pretty tough. I've only seen a handful of these. And there's another one that shows the Giants with Christy Mathewson that was made at the same time. And that one's difficult, obviously, also. This next one here I've shown before. This is another one of my favorite items in my collection. This is 1908 A.C. Williams postcard showing Cy Young. I just love that picture in the old school Boston uniform there. And it says here, Cy delivering the goods. Get the light a little better. And in 1908, they had Cy Young Day in Boston, and there were no other games that day. And different teams sent players. They compiled a team, played against the Red Sox, and Cy Young pitched. And the interesting and really cool thing about this one is that on the back here, this was actually postmarked the day after that game. The game was August 13th, 1908. This was postmarked August 14th. And whoever it is that's sending it here says they took in the game for Cy Young yesterday. The game was fine, but the fun and interesting part came before the game with the presentation to Cy. You probably read the accounts in the papers. The Boston Americans are certainly playing great ball, and love to Fat Alice. So I've always loved this one. I bought this at the Chantilly show years ago. Actually, I went back and forth with the seller, and I ended up leaving the show and driving home and realized that I had made a mistake, and I hauled ass back to the show and was able to get there in time and pick this up. Next one. This is technically not pre-war because this is during World War II that this postcard was sent. And you don't usually do autographs, but I just thought this was really neat. And this one says, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and it's signed Dom DiMaggio. And Dom DiMaggio was in the Navy at this time. You can see there that didn't require a postage stamp during the war. And he was stationed at Norfolk, Virginia Naval Base, which is depicted on the front here. And I did a little reading and determined that he, was in fact at that base during the time here. This is postmarked December 12th, 1943. And of course, Dom DiMaggio was overshadowed by his brother Joe, but Dom had a very good career. He was a really good player. Not quite Hall of Fame, but a star player for sure. Okay, next up, this is a postcard that shows inside Fenway Park. It says section of Grandstand, Fenway Park, Boston, Mass. And this one is blank back, or I'm sorry, not blank back, but not postally used. This was probably made around 1916 or so, and I'm basing that on the fact that it has the white border. But pretty early image inside Fenway. Fenway was built, like I said, in 1912. And for those of you that have been to Fenway, I mean, portions of this still look pretty similar. So always liked that one. I thought it was a cool image. You can see like the usher there. I assume that's an usher. And next up, this is a team. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. The video cut off. But just picking back up, this is a team postcard from 1910. This is obviously in very rough condition, but I've only ever seen one other one of these. So I'm happy to have this one. The back is pretty much destroyed. Last year, I found one other one on a online forum, Net54, and was trying to work out a deal. I thought I had a deal with the guy to buy it, and it was a much nicer version than this one, and then he backed out at the last minute and said he didn't want to sell it. But this one, like the other early Sox team postcards I've showed you, Tris Speaker is on here, Harry Hooper, and some other stars from the time, Eddie Seacott, who was banned during the Black Sox scandal. Here is a outside shot of Fenway Park, and this one also not postally used. This one, I'm guessing this was probably somewhere between 1912 and 1916, but pretty cool image. I've seen a photograph that this was based on. You have what I think is a Boston police officer there on horseback, and you can see the fans gathering outside the gate there, and it says Fenway Park, and the exterior of the park still also looks pretty similar, for those of you that have been there and seen it. So thought that was a pretty cool one. Next one here, I spoke about these at length in a recent video, but this image is inside Fenway. Red Sox warming up at Fenway Park, Boston, Mass. This one here is postmarked in 1913. Some of these with the white border are a little bit later. I think this one here is 1916. Yeah, 1916. But like I mentioned in another video, the rumor has been with this postcard that that player that's batting there is Babe Ruth, and it is not Babe Ruth because this postcard was postmarked prior to Babe Ruth arriving in Boston. But a cool image nonetheless. Got the Boston Herald ad there in the background. And sorry about that glare. And the players just kind of standing around during batting practice. Like I said, I have 4 of these slightly different variations and different companies that made them during that time. This next postcard here is just a scene in Boston, Franklin Park in Roxbury, Massachusetts. I'm just not going to get that light to cooperate. But the reason I got this one is on the back here. This one's postmarked it looks like October 30th, 1912. And down at the bottom here, it says, I am down here seeing the World Series between Giants and Red Sox. Game was, can't make that out. Another game today. But just thought that was kind of neat. And then on the top it says, OU Red Sox. This is just another one that I found on eBay and paid a couple bucks for, but thought that was kind of cool. And then finally, last one, I bought this in REA a couple of years ago, another 1912 postcard. They made an awful lot during 1912. This one is Underwood and Underwood. It's graded at SGC 3, and it's entitled American League Pennant Winners. And it's a similar photo to some of the other ones you've seen. As a matter of fact, I think it may have been taken at the same time as this one. But just thought this was a really cool image, nice bold picture there, dark contrast, and you don't see this one a ton. This one's not postally used on the back. All right, well, that's it. Went through them kind of quickly, but thanks for watching, guys, and have a couple of pickups that I'm expecting in the mail that I'm very excited about. Looking forward to showing you those when they arrive, and have some other videos that I'm thinking about making in the next week or so. So until then, take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.